cigar-chomping, hush-puppy-wearing, jazz-loving Ken Clark, and bonny, bolshy and black Diane Abbott. You won't find us peddling crass stereotypes here in this week's studio, except in a quiet week, and this has been quiet as the grave. So, in honour of tonight's relaunch of Little Britain, chaff scum everywhere, and the government of Kazakhstan, this week we put stereotypes in the spotlight. When Sacha Baron Cohen flew in to present the MTV Music Awards as Borat, he was only after our laughter. But the government of Kazakhstan reportedly failed to see the funny side of negative stereotyping.
And this my goat, he gives me cheese.
So can national stereotypes do more harm than good? The Daily Mirror went one good step too far when it declared football war on Germany during Euro '96. Some politicians get stuck into stereotypes. Gerhard Schroeder called off his holiday to Italy after an Italian minister labelled German tourists rowdy beach invaders. But President Chirac still slags off our nosh. Party political caricatures can also leave their scars. William Hague struggled to shake off his Tory boy image as Conservative leader. But a self-styled stereotype can help you become a public personality.
All is for the best in the best of all possible worlds.
When it comes to class, is it all too easy to brandish the brand? And in the war against young hoodies, do we suffer from Victor Meldrew syndrome? This week, one police chief urged us not to demonise all youths as yobs.
Unbelievable!
So, as Little Britain returns to the screens of Real Britain tonight, we're left wondering how much truth there is in a simple stereotype. Joining us now in the studio, top British stand-up comedian Stewart Lee. He's co-creator of the Jerry Springer the Opera, you know, the one that BBC viewers love so much, and the one and only Alan Partridge. We love that even more. He's also, I like this, he's the proud winner of the Tapwater Prize for Best Comic at Edinburgh Festival. Tapwater. No Ponzi Perrier for you.
No, Perrier, no, we object on ethical grounds due to their involvement with Nestle.
Tell me this. What is it about stereotypes that are such a minefield for comedians?
Well, I think the funny thing about looking at that clip is there's this problem about Borat and Kazakhstan, and I think what's happened there is that as we live in more of a kind of multicultural society, and globally we understand more about different countries, it becomes increasingly hard to find the funny foreign stereotype that we need because we know more about different people. And you know, Sacha Baron Cohen's had to go as far as Kazakhstan, which basically is, you know, Narnia. No one has any opinion about what it's like at all to like find a stereotype that you can impose.
So you think he's been safe with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's
until
largely,
they found out.
Yeah, well, who would have thought the people of Kazakhstan would ever discover? It seems so far away that it's almost, you know, you feel it would feel a safe bet. And what I noticed in the kind of 17 years that I've been doing stand-up is one of the great things about political correctness, which I'm a huge supporter of, is that in the 80s that meant that on a purely creative level, comedians had to start to think outside the box because a whole area suddenly became taboo. But then what happened was that, you know, new races became the stereotypes. There'd be a lot of jokes about the Welsh in the early 90s, and then when that seemed like a cliche, people started to, the punchline would always be that someone was ginger, you know, so there's always some kind of, there always seems to be a need for some.
So are there more lines to be drawn today on national stereotypes?
Yeah, I think so, because I think
it's a tougher thing to do.
Yeah, I think people know more about their immediate neighbours and the people that they live next to, so it's a good thing.
But
really.
You said we still need them in a way.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there's a certain kind of comedy where you need an identifiable victim or punchline to a joke. And one of the good things about Little Britain now, I think, is that they've discovered a whole new load of British stereotypes that we knew were there, but that no one had really given shape to.
Some
before.
of them are not that politically correct.
Yeah, I still don't really understand. I think the whole notion of what politically correct has gone really vague now.
In Little Britain, which is cult comedy now on BBC One, from BBC Three, BBC Two, BBC One tonight, no black stereotypes.
There was actually.
Oh, there was?
Yes, I in fact watched it before I came out, and the Bubbles the lady...
I didn't see it tonight, though.
Right,
I've taped it.
Well, there's a character who's actually based, I hope this isn't libelous, on the former wife of the guy that used to own the Daily Mail. And she's always seems to be in a health farm. She's called
I think our
Bubble.
lawyers have just gone into meltdown. The wife of an editor of one of our national newspapers.
Right, and she's at a health farm, and her ex-husband turns up with his new wife, who happens to be black, and they end up naked fighting on the floor. So they have got a black character.
That was a kind of side character.
I know. I had to say it because I'd just been
stereo.
watching it. No, I think the thing about stereotypes is they're a form of shorthand. And if you're a comedian, you need shorthand to get your laughs. But obviously, stereotypes can cross a line. And there's lots of black stereotypes, which are quite common right up to the 70s, black and white minstrels and so on, which I think are massively offensive, will be massively offensive.
But you wouldn't get these today, would you? That's the point you're making,
I think that's really great, because the funny thing about Jim Davidson at the moment, right, is touring with a young black comic as a support act, who's young enough not to remember when the weekend after Jim Davidson was on television doing black stereotypes, that would make life very difficult for young black people in the school playground. And I don't think an older black comic of our generation would have been his support act, precisely because of that.
Or maybe Mr. Davidson's
that
changed as
anxiety.
well with the climate.
Doubt it.
No?
Nah.
No? I was just trying to be charitable.
Well, no,
Late at night.
actually, it might be something about marketing. It might be, for anything, there isn't an audience for that.
But stereotypes can be damaging. They're part of our political discourse. William Hague, he never quite recovered from the Tory boy image. Am I right?
He always said he would love to have got every copy of that tape and destroyed it. He knew it did him great damage, that Tory boy thing at the party conference. It did, and it was always shown over and over again. It was worse for him than Neil Kinnock falling over on the beach. Yeah. But I hate political correctness. But I do think that some stereotypes have always been in comedy. Steptoe is a classic stereotype character. In politics, well, people get stereotypes, very dangerous. National stereotypes, I think, are dangerous today. We're a very multicultural country.
Labour's got rid of some of his... We were used to the old stereotype of the duffel coat, socialist worker selling, geography teacher. So that's gone, hasn't it?
Oh, well, that's New Labour's great triumph. The stereotype now is the kind of person in the suit with the mobile, the New Labour
I think that's New Labour's great loss. I think
It's the BlackBerry now. Stereotypes have changed, though. We still have them, but they've changed.
Actually, though, just the funny thing you're saying about the political stereotype, I used to write for Weekending and Spit Image in the early 90s, and I actually think that a lot of politicians liked the way they were stereotyped. I think that Thatcher really benefited from the way that she was portrayed, as a strong image. So
David Steele didn't.
Tebbit was that picture of him in the black leather jacket gave a picture of strength, whereas other people were destroyed by it. Roy Hattersley, David Steele, damaged. Got to get the right stereotype if you're a politician.
Stewart Lee.
Thanks for having us.
Great to see you.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming on.